Okay, see if this sounds like you. You're already familiar with the blues scale, and for today I'll be in C and I'll be using the C minor blues scale in my examples. That is C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, and B flat. So you're already familiar with the blues scale and you've been improvising with it, but you find that you're searching for something. There's a certain sort of authenticity that seems to be missing. You're looking for those sounds, the kind of sounds that you hear professionals playing. Well, the subject of authenticity in the blues is a really deep subject, and today's video is definitely not going to cover everything you could possibly know about it. But if this sounds like you, then I'd say that this video could be really helpful for you. I want to show you a technique that I call the top C technique. This technique has two rules. Rule number one, create a line with the blues scale that is within one octave. So I'm going to be in this octave. I'm going to create some line that is within the boundaries of this C and that B flat, using that range of notes. Rule number two, double one or more of those notes with the top C note. The top C is what I call this C right here, so the C that's in the next highest octave. So what I'm talking about here is we're going to literally play this C note at the same time as one or more of the other notes. That's it. Now, don't let the simplicity of this fool you. It's a really powerful technique, and you could really find some very authentic sounds using this. I'd like to show you a couple of examples. Let's start with a simple example, and then we'll move to a more complex one after that. Okay, so rule number one says we're going to create a line using the blues scale within one octave. So here's a fairly simple line. I'll do that again. Okay, now rule number two says we're going to double one or more of those notes with our top C. I'd actually like to start by showing you what happens if we double every single note with that top C. That is, every time I play a note over here, I'll play the C along with it. That gives us this. Pretty cool. I'll do that again. Yeah, it's a very nice, authentic sounding line. I could picture that in a blues, something like this. And so on. That kind of thing. Now that example shows what we get when we use the top C to double every single note in the line. Let's be more choosy now and use the C as sort of a punctuating device. I'm still going to play the same line down here, but I'm only going to use the C to double some of the notes. See what you think. I'll do that again. And here's once more with a bass line. Yeah, again, a really nice, authentic sound. All right, let's try this again, this time using a more complex example. So here's another line. I'll do that again. All right, now we're going to add our top C. I'm not going to bother using the top C for every single note on this. It would just be too much. But I'm going to use it selectively to kind of punctuate what's happening. Here goes. Yeah, I'll do that again. And you could again picture that in a blues, whatever. And so on. Really, really cool sound. So my point today is not necessarily to teach you any lick in particular, but I want to really concentrate on the system and, showing you several different examples and hopefully inspiring you to really run with this in whatever way works for you. Now, if you are less experienced, either technically or just with your grasp of the scale, if you need to use simpler lines, that's perfectly fine. There's so many great things that you can do that are very simple. All of those kinds of things. And if you have the experience, and the facility to do more with it, then, run with it. What I want to do now is show you some examples in different styles to really give you a sense of how versatile this thing is, and again, just to give you more things to listen to. In these examples, I won't necessarily use the top C technique 100% of the time, but I'll try and really lean on it a lot, and hopefully you'll recognize it when you see it and hear it. I should make one small point before I give you these examples. You can actually use notes besides the minor blues scale notes, in this same kind of way. So, for example, the D and A are not part of the C minor blues scale, and in fact, the E as well. Now, these are actually all in the C major blues scale, but at any rate, my main point here is that we can deviate from that scale. So I could use those notes as well. I could do a line like, or, where I'm using the E note, or I can use the A as well. And that works with the top C as well. Okay, let's check out some examples. Our first will be this sort of walking bass, swinging blues thing that we've been playing with. And so on. Here's a boogie-woogie example. How about a slow stride? And so on. New Orleans style is cool. It's even possible to put this into a modern jazz context, something like this. Okay, so if you like this and you want to apply it to your own playing, I strongly recommend that you practice two things. Number one, practice this in an organic way. I mean, no tempo, no left hand, no chords, just explore the scale. This is probably going to look weird, feel weird, and maybe even sound weird to your ears. So just give yourself a chance to experience what it's all about, and just don't give yourself too many rules, and just sort of mess with it. You might do something like this. Just sort of get to know your way around it. Number two, after you've spent some time getting to know it sort of in its own world, find some vehicle that you can use to apply it. By vehicle, I mean some sort of musical context. Depending on what you're, kind of where you are, it might be something like that boogie pattern I was using earlier. I've slowed it down. So on. It could be, chords. And so on. It could be walking bass line, the New Orleans thing, anything. But I want to emphasize that you want to be very deliberate about this. You want to say to yourself, I will now practice playing with applying the top C technique to such and such, musical context. Give yourself a chance to really absorb that. And I think over time, you'll really kind of begin to take ownership of it. That's a great way to practice this technique. Don't forget to download the PDF for this lesson.